Yeah, the nonprofit, the Cannabis Alliance, says there's been a huge spike in these crimes over the past 3 years. They also believe many go unreported as impacted businesses try to move past it. Now the Alliance is working with lawmakers to try to protect these retailers, of course, going into a new year and as they face thousands of dollars in damages and lost product.
I was definitely shooken up a little bit.
Surveillance footage shows burglars ramming a stolen white Kia into the front of a pot shop early Tuesday in Lake Forest Park. Jeremiah Bressler is not only an employee at the Kushery, but lives upstairs. He heard the crash and watched what happened next on the security cameras.
It looked like they knew what they were doing. They hopped right over the cases and went to the ounces and got a bunch of disposable cartridges and stuff.
Bressler wants help from the feds and the state to better protect all cannabis stores that remain a target as they rely on cash transactions.
Yeah, seriously, let's go cashless.
The Cannabis Alliance adds that thieves don't realize many shops no longer keep much cash on site, but the criminals still leave behind a trail of destruction. The Alliance is now working with Governor Inslee's office to get more support for cannabis stores in the coming budget.
Financial support for being able to put up things like bollards and things like that. That can happen immediately.
State Senator Karen Kaiser last year proposed a bill to give excise tax credits to cannabis store owners and other retailers for security upgrades. But it went nowhere because of the high price tag. This year, she's drafting a more targeted grant program for businesses to install safety bollards, among other things still being drafted.
Small retail businesses. That would include cannabis stores, convenience stores, those kinds of on-the-street retail stores that unfortunately have been real targets.
She says it's important for the state to support our retailers now because she's not confident the feds will push through legislation this year, giving the cannabis sector access to regular banking services.
In terms of what we can look forward to, I'm afraid from Washington, D.C., I wouldn't hold my breath.
And another helpful resource for retailers, the State Liquor and Cannabis Board is offering free safety assessments. We've posted those details on our website. As for this latest smash and grab case, no arrests made just yet. For now, live in Seattle, Jackie Kent, KOMO News.
Well, they said it could work and should be done to prevent the potentially thousands of dollars in lost revenue.
Those who ride the light rail tell me they see it all the time. People crossing these yellow lines without paying.
Yes, I see that often, actually.
Sound Transit's latest numbers show that only about 55% of riders are paying. Before the pandemic, that number was assumed to be 80%. They believe that number will eventually go up to 75% because of a recent fare compliance move, as ambassadors are now checking tickets again. But what if fare gates were to go up? Would that encourage more people to pay?
It might. I think it might.
Keith from New York City, who often takes the subway, says they don't stop everything.
People do jump them because there's not people that, watch them, enforce it. But most people pay for it.
Sound Transit's board is expected to look into this in 2024.
I think people should pay to ride public transit. I understand under 18 they don't have to, and that's fine.
Other Seattle taxpayers who use the system have a more relaxed stance on fare dodging.
It doesn't particularly bother me. I would rather pay more and subsidize folks who can't either afford it or who don't want to.
But at the end of the day, the light rail runs on money. A decision will have to be made about whether the cost of putting in the gates will even be worth it.
Last month, I was taking the light rail from SeaTac back to downtown, and I did notice that ambassadors got on the light rail. They were checking tickets, taking people's information. So they are working to make sure that people aren't just getting on. They are working on enforcement. So more discussions to be held this year about whether that is enough. Now, as for the fare gates in that proposal, Sound Transit, they did not have an estimation yet on how much of an additional cost gates would be if they were to go that route. Reporting in Seattle, Paul Rivera, KOMO News.